Schlitt with your tropical update for September 13th. There are several active systems in the tropics today, but no immediate threats. DEFCON level is raised in Florida and the southeast to reflect rain impacts from a weak tropical low. The climatological peak of hurricane season is now a few days behind us, and for what is historically a very active period, this week was pretty much a dud. Right now there's one tropical storm and a couple of disturbances that are actually the more interesting features out there, but starting with Tropical Storm Ian, you can pretty quickly tell that there's nothing to worry about here. Ian is a weak, sheared tropical storm, with all its thunderstorm activity well removed from the center, and it's going to move north into the open central Atlantic for the next few days before losing tropical characteristics. The highest impact system today is Invest 93L, which is actually located over east central Florida right now, just south of Daytona Beach. 93L is spreading heavy rainfall to the Florida east coast, as well as localized strong winds, with Cape Canaveral recording several gusts of nearly 40 miles an hour this morning. If 93L had remained over water, it would have stood a good shot at limited further development, as it actually has a pretty well-defined surface circulation, but instead it will bring 1 to 2 inches of rainfall, with higher local totals to all of Florida, southern Georgia, and the eastern coastal Carolinas as it continues slowly north through the end of the week. The other feature of note is Invest 95L, a well-organized tropical wave that's just rolled off the African coast. Both the GFS and Euro are indicating slow development from this wave over the next week, which has about a 50% chance of happening. However, if 95L does develop in the next week, it will likely be turned north into the open Atlantic by a trough near 60 west on days 7 through 10. This is actually one of those situations where the higher landfall risk would be if 95L doesn't develop in the next week, with a weak wave instead missing the trough and potentially continuing west towards the U.S. at long range. Plenty of time to watch for that, however. There was also a slight 10 to 15% chance of development in the East Atlantic early next week from the next wave that will move off Africa in 3 or 4 days. Anyway, a few features of interest out there, but it could be much worse for the middle of September. From an overall activity perspective, about 47% of the season is left, with about 42% of U.S. landfall risk remaining. So plenty of season still to go, but nothing particularly troubling on the horizon this week. Now you know what's happening in the tropics. Keep watching the skies.